because, typically, and I'm stereotyping a bit here, men come in expecting a hot meal every day when they come from work, and a wife comes in expecting her husband to know how to fix everything, those sorts of things. And so when these things are not happening, and he's not necessarily a good manager of money, which many stereotypically some women expect their husbands to be. These different things happen, and then things get out of control. But understanding the person before is very important to a successful relationship.
Yes. What about the children? The children are affected in the divorce. They are. Sometimes we have to put ourselves on the back burner and really actually think about the kids. How should a couple going through a divorce deal with the kids? The kids.
That's the end I more often deal with in my current position. It's probably about half of my caseload are children, these children. And I think informing children at a developmentally appropriate level, speaking to them about what's going on in a way that meets their needs is probably the most important thing people can do. Let them know that what they are perceiving, because children can perceive conflict at a very early age. And I would like to let people know that there is solid evidence that children actually can hear arguments in utero. When they're developing as children, they can hear arguments. If there's violence, there's also research that indicates they, later in life, if the mother is traumatized, the child, without being traumatized themselves, will exhibit post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. So to even argue in front of a child when you're pregnant could potentially cause problems. And so I recommend, if you don't know how to approach your child, that you get in touch with a counseling clinic or a psychologist or developmental psychologist, someone who really is familiar with the different developmental stages and how you can speak to those children at those ages and let them know, talk to them about what's going on, about how they see what's going on. Because people often will tell me she's only 4, or she's only 3 or 2, and so we don't think it's bothering him or her, but inevitably you will find that the child knows at least the intensity of the arguments. They feel threatened by arguments. They notice if parents are not being connected with one another. They're very sensitive to that, and so there's all sorts of impacts that those events have on children. So I think first find out how to communicate with them at their level, and then keep them apprised of things at a developmentally appropriate level. I don't recommend scaring children with anticipation. Like we might get a divorce. I think you just said, no, we're having problems. We're having problems. This is what we're trying to do about it. And then if it comes down to it, kids need to have things sort of. It's either black or white. You're either going to, this is going to happen, and this is how you're going to be taken care of through this. You're going to get to see Dad. You're going to get to spend more time with Grandma or whatever, so that they know that their worries are addressed.
Right. I think as adults, we forget really about children's feelings. So often, we forget about when we were 4, and how I have vivid memories, from when I was 3 years old. It's just, it happens, We assume that, children don't know anything, they don't understand anything, but we need to make sure that we take care of their needs and remember their feelings, because dealing with those situations, as I personally dealt with, it can be a very, very confusing time in your life. You're trying to figure out everything, and you go to school, and next thing you know, you're acting out just because of those different pressures and things that are going on in the home. So it's important that we remember, our young people and their feelings, because they are the most innocent in this entire process. So we need to make sure that, if we can't do anything else to protect the innocent.
That's right. It says that children that are older have pains and concerns also about their parents' breakup. That is why the parents should take out the time of their problems to help explain to their children what is going on and that they still love them. Ignoring your children through a divorce is not the healthiest choice to make for your child or children. It said there are more than 15 million kids in the United States that will witness a divorce. So those statistics are startling. I mean, it's just, outrageous. So, the kids, do you believe, Mrs. B and Reverend Kyle, do you believe that the children going through the divorce, do you believe that if they are not nurtured and taken care of going through the divorce, will they act out that in adulthood? Would they carry that on? I have one more question that I would like to ask you guys. If a person or a couple wants to fix their relationship and try to salvage their marriage, how should they go about doing it?
Seek help. That's the first thing. As Mrs. Bayerano mentioned earlier, don't wait until it's too late. So oftentimes, because of lack of communication, we don't really know how our spouses feel. We're not really communicating about our feelings and what's really going on. So if you start to notice things, you need to try to communicate with your spouse. And if you all have an issue in negotiating and dealing with those problems, then seek some help, whether it's with your church, whether it's with a clinical psychologist. Do something to try to salvage that relationship, because the essence and basis of any community is the family. The same thing with the church. That's what makes our organizations and institutions strong. They all begin with that original institution, the family. And so we want to do whatever we can to keep families together, because we affect our lives, the way we interact with people, the spirit that we carry with us as we go out into the world, based on those experiences, those traumatic things that happen to us. But more importantly than that, as I can say once again, the innocent children who have to deal with these circumstances and deal with parents who can't get along. So we want to do anything we can, and getting help. Don't be too prideful. Let me say that, to seek some counseling, to seek some help, to think you can figure it out on your own. Sometimes you can't. It doesn't matter whether you're a preacher or you never even went to church. Everybody has problems in relationships. So no matter your position in life or whatever your circumstance may be, sometimes you will need help, and don't be afraid to get it. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Mrs. B, would you like to elaborate on that?
I think the first place to start, aside from getting help, of course I have to recommend that, is to be honest with yourself. I think a lot of people, by even talking to a trusted friend or a sister, and you disclose you're having problems, it helps you to get more honest with yourself. And I think as part of the process, the fact is some people have a hard time finding help, but some things you can do on your own is to acknowledge or be willing to look at the part that you play in the conflicts or the problems that you're having. Sometimes if someone does have a severe mental illness, or they have some kind of severe behavioral problem, it's hard to see that we have any kind of way that we're participating. But other times we can sit down and think, you know what, I'm a little quick to anger, I give the cold shoulder or something like that, and we're able to kind of identify some of that. And the other thing I recommend is what I call having the quiet conversation, where people go to the other person and say, not in a yelling way, but say, you know what, we've got serious problems, and we need help. But I have known people who came to counseling or who got help through their minister, and they changed enough of their part of the dynamic that the other person made a natural shift. If there's not too much damage, oftentimes you can get that natural shift just from one person getting help. So don't think that there's not a possibility of saving your marriage if only you go.
But I just want to thank you guys for being with us today on the Jenni Love Show. And if you out there are having marital problems and you're thinking about throwing in the towel, we highly recommend that you seek help wherever it may be found. So until the next time, thank you for watching us, and you can reach us at our website at www.thejenniloveshow.com. If you need help in a relationship or any other manner, you can contact our guest, Reverend Cal Jones, 870-230-1398, and Mrs. Beverly Behurano, 870-246-4123.